So, hi, welcome to Binge Buddies, Toretto's shitty tuna sandwich. I'm going to get over the title by week 4, I promise. I'm your host, as always, Bryan Dressel. With me, as always, is... Hold on, I lost it. I'm still talking. It's okay. I remember what it's called anyways. Matt, Zombie Dog, Hummer H2, Dykes.
Is that like a Humvee or something, but like a special model of it?
It's supposed to be
you
like
don't know
the
what a Hummer is?
street-ready Hummer.
Yeah.
It's a very American car for a British person.
It would be.
Well, it's basically it's like a civilian model of the military Humvee, right? The
Yes.
Hummer.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. And they are
It
dumb.
had like 10 miles to the gallon. Usually suburban housewives would drive them.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, suburban housewives or
Badly.
dudes you buy weed from. that's about it.
Not sus at all.
Yeah.
Or like the dudes who like go to the gym but don't actually work out. They just pretend and just like stand in front of the mirrors going, "I'm gorgeous. Look at how sexy I am."
Yeah.
Our Hummer dealer just closed down, didn't it, Joel? About 2 or 3 years
You
ago.
still had a Hummer dealer? I thought they all went out of business.
I think it speaks to things that I didn't remember we had one of those dealerships.
This is the longest intro ever. We also have Joel. I just lost the title. Chevy SSR DeWitte.
Chevy SSR. Well, I'm glad they added the R to the end of that name.
I mean,
Yeah.
they didn't always. There was some that was just SS.
Yep, that was a long time ago, though. We also have Ryan. I'm sorry, Ryan. Plymouth Prowler Lootens.
There ain't nothing wrong with the Plymouth. Those things are classic.
I mean, Plymouth Prowler, that just sounds like some sort of rapist's car, though.
I feel like that's the car that has signs that say free candy on the side.
Yeah.
They were the
free candies and
dumbest
puppies and fireworks.
Like they came out when I was in like 6th grade, and I just remember there being the dumbest cars ever. And I had this one, not friend, but he sat next to me in elementary school because our names were right next to each other. It was Dressel and then Drish. And he fucking loved these cars, thought they were the coolest cars ever. They only came in one color, which was purple, and they were the greatest things ever. Did an entire speech to our 6th grade class on it. So I've never been able to forget it. Cars were dumb. Like, dumb cars.
And then that person ended up buying one and was arrested for being a
prowler.
No, it's not. Yeah, a prowler.
Yeah.
Nice save there, Brian, because I very noticed something else.
Yeah. Here to save the day. Anyhow, here to save the day and talk about Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. I gotta say, this is still the only one that I have not seen in the theater, which bums me out. I was gonna try to watch it in the theater this week at work. I didn't have time. I really like this movie. I feel like I'm not supposed to, though. Like, it's a very strange, like, everyone knows the Tokyo Drift is the joke of the franchise. And like, might have been the best one we've watched so far. That's kind of where I'm landing on it. I'm not entirely decided yet. I'm a little bit more wishy-washy than I thought I'd be coming into Tokyo Drift. So I'll let somebody else start talking. How does somebody else feel about it?
So this was the one for me that... Oh, sorry.
Everyone's excited to talk about Tokyo Drift.
One.
I don't think it's the best movie. I do think it's the most fun I've had watching one of these movies so far.
Okay. That's a fair
And
response.
I'm sort of like, I'm rating these films on fun over quality of the filmmaking, because let's face it, the quality of the filmmaking is, well, let's just say it's not exactly a high bar.
But I actually think the
in terms of
filmmaking is
fun,
better in 3, but keep going.
Yeah, well, it's the thing, like, so like 3 is the most fun, but it's also, I think, the best made one so far. Like, there is some definite, like, the cinematography and things like that. It's starting to feel more like that kind of like stylish film that I think they were wanting to go for. Whereas I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So for me, when I first watched this movie, it was a joke. It was a bad movie. Like, I just was not vested. But now, knowing what I know and rewatching everything and I definitely have taken a greater appreciation for this movie. This is the movie that, like you said, it's a joke, but this is Justin Lin's first one, and it shows what he can do. And I think that it really set the bar high for the expectation of what he will amount to essentially as he progresses on. But yeah, I hated this movie. Hated this movie. It was a joke to me. And now I like it. So, watch movies more and more. If you want to know more about a movie that I've watched more than one occasion I still don't like, tune into next week's episode.
I think this is the time, like, it's a bit like Halloween 3.
Yeah.
So like the Halloween 3, you didn't have Michael Myers in. So like when you go into it for the first time, it's kind of like, oh well, where's Michael Myers? And in this one, it's kind of like, where's Vin Diesel? Where's Paul Walker? I don't get this.
Well, see, what's really good about this movie is this movie gets better because of the fact that they take care of it in later movies. That's all I'm going to say. They take care of it in later movies, and when you can watch it with that lens, then it makes it better.
So. Yeah, but I mean, my only pushback on that is Joel and Matt have not watched those other movies.
Correct.
And they're still enjoying it on the first go. I think actually watching this out of 2006, like this many years later, without like the stigma of like, this is the third Fast and Furious, and look at it not doing all the stuff the Fast and Furious movies are supposed to do, really helps. Like removing this one from the hype, I think makes it a better film as well.
I think you're absolutely right.
Because I think Matt was, I think it was before we started recording, he mentioned that like knowing going in what this one is makes it a better film. We actually lost Matt. I didn't mute him. I was wondering why he was just frozen.
I wonder what that shit-eating grin was all about.
He was like just waiting, like he had a great thing.
I thought so too.
But yeah, to what he was saying, I don't think he was wrong. Like it does make it a better film, being able to watch it knowing for a fact that none of the stuff that you're expecting from the first two movies are going to be in this one. And it actually kind of leaves, we'll talk more next week, but I think that kind of leaves the door open to 4 being a celebration of those things coming back, at least if you watch that one in the time frame that it came out. Nowadays, that functionality is broken, but we'll talk about that next week. I really like Tokyo Drift. I think
I don't know what the fuck happened there.
It looked like you died. Just
Great.
But glad to know you hadn't died. We were just talking about Tokyo Drift. I'm not sure if you remember that. We were talking the Fast and Furious franchise. We're done with Peacemaker. Now we're on to Fast and Furious. I don't know how long you've been gone. The bit was just for me, and I loved every second of it.
Wait, Peacemaker? That was like several series before.
It was quite a while ago. I'm still enjoying my own bit over here. Anyhow, I'm
so confused.
That's making it so much better for me. Anyhow, let's talk some Tokyo Drift. I know in these episodes we've been kind of saving the stunts for last. But I think one of the things that's made Justin Lin such an integral part to the Fast and Furious franchise is how he doesn't just, it's not movie and then car sequence and then movie and then car sequence. Like Justin really makes the cars part of everything. Like the characters in the cars are one and the same. And I think it's not something that really comes across until like you get to like the part 5 trailer with The Rock just going, don't ever let them get in the cars. And it's just ridiculous, but it's fun. But I think that kind of starts here where it kind of goes back to what we talked about in our last show in Terminator, where in the very first chase, it's mostly story during the chase. And I think Justin Lin very smartly does that in Tokyo Drift, where there's story happening in each and every one of the races. If they're in cars, it's something important that you should be watching. And I think this is the first one of those movies that really has that in there. And I think that's really cool because I think that carries throughout the rest of Justin Lin's movies.
For sure, 100%. I mean, he these are a movie about cars, so he makes that very integral to the plot, So I'll say what I'm going to say for the shitbag that we're going to talk next. But even then, the cars are very important to the centralized story of what the whole premise of the movie is all about. So that being said, this is a show about cars. Justin Lin knows how to make that a central key plot point without taking away from the story either.
Yeah, he just combines them. Like the cars are part of the story. It's kind of a tricky thing to pull off, and I think he did a really good job with it. totally losing track of what I was going to talk about next. Something about the drifting. I have the fucking trailer for the movie running on like loop next to me, and it's really fucking distracting. Damn IMDb.
Turn it off.
Well, I need the names. I forget the names. You know,
Wikipedia, man, it has a cast list.
IMDb. It's literally designed for that.
That's why I'm on it, but it has a trailer running constantly, and it's distracting me. Anyhow, the driving in this movie was really fucking cool. The driving was so cool in this movie that the very first thing that happens after the movie ends is the movie tells you, "Don't do this."
Yeah.
Yep.
It felt like a Jackass movie. The stunt performer.
When that came up, I was like, "What? Are you serious?"
I thought I heard the Jackass theme.
But you do kind of have that feeling because this was for me the first one. I mean, you notice it sometimes in 2, but this is the first time where it gets really obvious when they start bleeding in the CGI. And I think that's just because Justin Lin really pushes these cars and the practicality of the stunts as far as humanly possible to where you need to stitch together with CGI. It doesn't really bother me in this movie. You know, it's still very 2006 CGI, so it's very obvious when it probably wasn't back then. I do call it out a little bit more than I wish I would. But it doesn't take away from anything. Like each one of the stunt sequences in this movie, each one of the chases are just a blast, and they're really cool, and they're all different while being very similar. Like drifting is the name of the game in this movie, and like that's that they do not budge from that at all beyond the first chase that takes place in America. Like,
yeah,
that's
it's kind of like Over the Top with Sylvester Stallone, like, you know, the arm wrestling film.
Oh right,
So it's kind of like, you know, there's not really a lot you can do with arm wrestling, but you know, with this, it's like, oh, well, it's called Tokyo Drift. We've got to do drifting all the time. So it's a lot of shots of cars just sort of like skidding around corners and stuff like that. But the way that they shoot it, it does actually make it look a bit different. So it's kind of like, you know, the reverse of that. You're taking something that's a very basic thing. You skid a car around the corner, but then the way that they shoot it and it's all the way it's all set up and the locations makes it slightly different.
yeah. And they're also not afraid to show how difficult it is. Like,
What I really enjoyed,
I liked that like the character who'd never done it before was not an expert and he just absolutely fucks up the car.
yeah.
what I really enjoy too about this movie is like this is it's relatively a type of racing that not a lot of people know about in 2006. So when the main character is introduced to drifting, we are too. So that level of like relatability with the character is like, holy shit, this is a whole new ball game. You know, like he knows his stuff around his way around a vehicle, but then when he sees this, he's like, I can do this. And then the viewer's like, no, you can't. This is gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah, it's like cockiness. That's really sort of like the cocky teenager who's like, oh yeah, I can piss all over like all the high school drivers and stuff like that. And then it's like you go to a place where these people have been drifting for as long as they could reach the accelerator pedal essentially in a car. And it's like, oh yeah, you are seriously outmatched.
You are a fish out of water, my friend.
Yeah.
A nice change of pace from the first movie where Bryan just comes in as competitive right away.
Yeah.
And this character shows up and he's completely out of his depth, but he, like you said, he still has the charisma and machismo to think he can do it on the first try.
Yeah, and like even like that little conversation, and Bow Wow's in this movie. We haven't mentioned that yet, and he's actually, I think, surprisingly good in this movie. I wish he came back in the franchise more. He's in, I think, one more of them, but very, very briefly. I really liked him as the best friend in this thing, and that conversation they had before that first race is just fantastic. I need a 30-second crash course on drifting. Well, handbrakes, you're gonna do fine. It's just good luck.
we used to make fun of this like this again. This tells you how much we made fun of this movie. But when me and my friends watch this, like just the laughability of some of the lines. But you just clutch that e-brake, clutch that e-brake. All right, Bow Wow, thank you. Could have done it without you. Maybe that's why I crashed.
He crashes so many times in that first race.
I just like when you see Hans like, oh yeah, I'll just randomly give my car keys to this person I've just met as well.
The thing is, like,
I think that's a testament to Hans' character too. You know, he sees something in this kid, and if you've seen Better Luck Tomorrow, this is Better Luck Tomorrow is one of Justin Lin's first movie. It's his breakout movie. It's about a group of Asian Americans who are going against the stereotype of being all that they can be and actually living a life of crime. And in that movie is Han, and this is a not non-canon, but definitely Han's backstory, which is really good. So it definitely sees it's almost like he sees a little bit of himself in oh god, what's the main character's name? Sean, thank you. So he sees a little bit of himself in Sean, and he's willing to give him that chance, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I like that. Like Han to me is top 3, if not like top 2 characters in all of Fast and Furious. Like I think Han is just one of the best characters we have. And not to spoil things for Matt and Joel, I apologize. They're very smart about how they keep him around. It's kind of dumb. I'll just like, no, part 3 takes place after part 4. I mean, after part 5. I mean, after part 6. I mean, how long will he keep doing these movies? It takes place after those. It gets a little dumb, but like it's also, they know what they have. Justin Lin knows he likes working with the actor, and like they have a very good chemistry. And Han's character is just, he feels at home in these movies. He just works really well. And that might be why I like this movie as much as I do. Like him and Sean, I don't think Lucas Black is the best actor that we have in Hollywood. He was a great child actor. I don't think his skills got that much better as he got older, but he's never been bad. He's good enough for most roles. He's like a CVS version of Sam Worthington. Sorry, Joel. But that's kind of what I see him as, which might be a bigger dig than I mean it to be. But him and Han,
he doesn't scream through his nose, so that's an improvement on Sam Worthington.
Only Sam Worthington can do that. That's like his superpower.
It's like a very, very upset elephant.
I think what I like about Han, and I know we're sort of dipping into the next movie a little bit, is that he has a kindness and straightforward sincereness to his character that works as a really good archetype compared to Dom and Bryan. Because Bryan throughout these movies have been sort of dipping his toes in both sides of the world, right? He's usually involved with police or FBI activity while also sort of cosplaying the street racer behavior. So he's kind of like morally murky. And then you have Dom, that sort of rigid sensibility and sense of belief in morals to where he's just sort of this like cooperative, kind middle ground.
Dude, I'm telling you guys, watch Better Luck Tomorrow, because the shit that happens to him at the end of the movie really changes who he is. And you see that in the Fast and Furious movies.
That's really interesting. Like, that's cool. I've been a big fan of Justin Lin's for a long time now. Like, I even watched his True Detective, which wasn't very good. I'm glad he tried. But it's because of things like the character Han that kind of keep me in his camp, because he did such a good job with this one character over a franchise that he was never even a part of. And it's impressive. The other thing that I really, really like in this movie, and then we can kind of start moving through certain sequences and whatnot, but I want to talk about it more piecemeal at the beginning, is I think this one might have the best villain. I go through like all the villains of the movie, and they get way more like superhero, super villain, like I'm going to take over the world the more the franchise goes on. So like
it seems very grounded. Like it seems like it's a very, it could be, it doesn't have to be a Fast and the Furious, it could be any kind of like crime film, and he's kind of a realistic character as well. He's kind of reminded me a little bit of is it Johnny Tran in the first one?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's the kind of like, that honor thing, among the sort of like the gangs. I think Johnny Tran was like supposed to be a triad, but it's very similar in the Yakuza as well. And that thing of like saving face and like losing face, and then the reason he goes after Han so much is because he's like, he's cost him like honor, as it were, really. And I like that, and it's very believable as motivation as well.
Well, it's kind of like in the first movie they have Johnny Tram, and he always kind of feels like an afterthought. Like, clearly this movie's about Dom and Bryan, and that's great, but they need to have some sort of exterior thing they can both team up against, and they kind of kept Johnny Tram for that, but he didn't really get to do much. Whereas DK, he is the main antagonist of this movie, and they really let him shine. And the actor they hired for him is so good. Like that sequence where he's going, where he's trying to intimidate Nella. Is that her name?
Neela.
Neela.
Yeah.
And like he's just like right in front of her face, just right up there, and he is just intimidating as hell. But he also kind of has that, like, the actor's so good at being intimidating and horrifying, but also have that super confident swagger that you could see people wanting to magnet to him. Like they want to be around him, but he's also horrible.
Presence.
Yeah.
Like just his presence on screen is just a formidable force. It is daunting, it is scary, it is charismatic, but it is also vulnerable. This is what I love about this character, is that this dude knows that he can do no wrong, but if his uncle is around or if he crossed his uncle, he's a dead man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes him so enigmatic, is the fact that he's a guy with connections. You know, he can run his own show, he can do his own thing, you know, but he doesn't think that anybody can cross him. And then when Han does cross him, that's when he's made to look like a fool, and it just brings his character arc to a whole different level. I think that DK is one of the most best developed villains that we have in the entire franchise,
easily. And again, I give a lot of that credit both to Justin Lin and like his script with Chris Morgan, and then to the actor. Like the guy who plays DK just crushes that role. Like, he does a very, very good job. Like you put somebody who's not very talented in that role, and if you don't have that swagger,
it becomes
half the character doesn't work. Like you need to be able to pull them both off, and he pulls off that I'm the badass in the room that no one wants to say the wrong thing to, and the please don't hurt me, uncle. Like he does them both extremely well.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, because there's a series called Tokyo Vice, which is like I really enjoy that series, and watching this after actually having seen that, there's a lot of kind of similarities in like the sort of like because there's a lot about the Yakuza and stuff like that. So you see a lot of these similarities and stuff like that, and it's very believable that this character would just fit into that series so well because of how kind of like, you know, it is kind of believable. Like I never thought I'd say that about one of these films, but you know, the character is quite believable in how he acts, and then like, you know, when he's got that, like you said, that swagger when he's around his friends and people that he can intimidate, and then all of a sudden when Uncle turns up, who is the boss. Like, you know, he's the big boss. He's genuinely afraid. And you can see that in his mannerisms. His mannerisms change till he's no longer being cocky. He's been very kind of like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like,
almost
you know,
subservient, just like,
yeah.
And it's in a movie series where a lot of the bosses are these one-dimensional characters. He is layered. He's got dimensions to him.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's another thing that takes this movie that could be very hokey. Look at these cars slide on the ground, whee, and it's like, oh, there's actual things in this movie, and they, for the most part, work rather well.
There's a lot more depth in this film than I was expecting.
Yeah,
as well, especially with the opening sequence, because that opening sequence, it's just like it's montage. It's like, you know, montage of like really like slow motion shots and like close-ups of the main character. Like, look at how cool this guy is. Oh, he's cool. He's cool.
Oh, you mean just like the very beginning? I thought you were talking about like the opening race against the kid from Home Improvement. Like,
no, I mean just like, you know, going like that very opening.
It does a really good job of setting the precedence of what he's used to, the life. And then really giving him that fish out of water in Tokyo.
Because it gives you that lovely contrast as well. Because then when you do start to see, like, you know, the training montages later on, he's no longer, I'm so cool. He's like, he's fucking up all the time. He's crashing and he's annoyed. And like comparing the two and contrasting the two montages, like, I'm so cool to, oh, for fuck's sake.
And there's also
it's really good, like story building and character building, I think.
And it's also a really interesting look at America. Like, I know Justin Lin is also an American citizen. I think he's an American citizen. I know they always say he's /American, but he also has that outsider point of view. So he can give us an image of what America looks like to other countries, which we are overconfident and idiots. Like, but he can show that really well. And then you can have that, as Ryan put it, fish out of water snap to Japan, where he's like, oh, wow, like this area is both probably cooler than America, and you don't fit in at all. Like, Like you thought you were cool over there. Like you're racing with the kid from Home Improvement. You're not cool. I'm sorry.
It's like the Guy Jin thing. Like I knew when they started calling him Guy Jin, then it's like, oh, I know what that is because of Tokyo Vice, because like the main character is a Guy Jin. But then they go into like, you know, there is an explanation later on. It's very well done, that, and it's not just straight away. Like it's that thing of like, you know, they leave it a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, it allows the audience to try and kind of figure out that, you know, Gaijin is basically white boy or something like that, outsider and that kind of thing.
I think it's supposed to be like a slang for foreigner.
Yeah, basically, yeah, because like Japanese culture is so Japanese, like anything outside of that, they kind of like go, we don't give a shit about what you think. You Gaijin, fuck off. Like, you know, and like, you know, there's a lot more of that on Tokyo Vice, like, you know, the fact that, you know, one of the character, like the Gaijin character, it calls up someone, and like the guy's literally like, oh, they sent me a fucking Gaijin, piss off, and like put the phone down on him because they can tell even over the phone, and it's really good way of like building up that kind of, you know, it's a Fast and Furious film. It's not going to be a deep dive into Japanese culture, but it gives enough of the surface level stuff to sort of like give that idea. Like, you know, there's some bits in where are a bit dodgy, like the sumo guy that he has to take the money from. I was looking at going, really? Sumo?
Well, what I want to say here too, like, you know, he definitely, the whole stereotype that he's given with the whole Gaijin, when he has the balls to approach the Yakuza boss to give what Han had stolen, like, he is really solidifying that he's what am I trying to say here? He knows what he's doing. He's reached that level of confidence, and he's trying to break that stereotype essentially, which is awesome. So I don't know. I just want to bring that up because, like, for that character to be so bold to go into Yakuza is a feared word everywhere. Like, you just don't mess with the Yakuza. You've heard stories. So for him to go in and be like, this is what Han took, and I want to respect you and all that other stuff, but I want to race. And that's bold. Like, that's just showing the type of character he is.
And that's the thing is, like, he's trying to end that sort of like rivalry through, right, but he's doing it with respect.
Yes.
And I think that's the key thing. It's
for
like
the culture.
He's learned that, you know, he can't be this really cocky, oh, I'm amazing, awesome, like, you know, and that's not going to work. He needs to show respect. He needs to show, oh God, what is the word?
We're having
not modesty, but something around that kind of thing. Like, you know, yes, that's the word. Yeah. No. What Joel said, operance.
Reverence.
Is that how you say? Reverence. Yeah, reverence. Operance. What the fuck's operance? But yeah, reverence is the thing I was thinking of. But that thing, yeah. So he's learned that, and it's that kind of, you see the characters grown so much.
Matt, I'm actually glad you brought that up because, like, even then, like, he didn't respect his father. Like, he actually moved out from his father and moved in with Han. Yeah. It's like through Han he learned the culture, ideally or essentially.
Yeah, and they're moving out with his father's place. So it comes down to, like, you know, he's got that rule of you come straight home and don't go near a car. And then it's like, well, and he's like, well, get out of my house. And like he goes to actually send him home, and he's like, oh, no, I'm sorry. And then as soon as he's got somewhere else to actually stay, he's gone. Yeah, because, you know, I guess it's like he has to drive. It's, you know, it's like,
even then too, like with the death of Han, I'm calling it the death of Han, folks. With the death of Han, with the death of Han, that almost it's just that reconnection for Sean, and, you know, then he is able to reconnect with his father and then take that passion project of rebuilding that car. So Han is really integral to the growth of Sean as a character, which makes Han such a great character for the Fast and Furious franchise. Brian, we've been cutting you off like all.
Oh, that's fine. No,
last 5 minutes.
No, please do. It's all good.
Well, like when you said about the bringing Sean and his father back together as well, it's also like Sean's grown so much that he's like, no, I need to sort this out. I need to clean up my own mess.
Yep.
I've made a mess of this. I have to fix it. And then he's like, he's getting his father's respect as well, because he's suddenly becoming
a man.
Not so much a man, because I hate that as a terminology. It's
responsible,
but it's more like, it's like he's really he's growing up, and he's realizing that you can't just fuck about and it doesn't matter, there are consequences, and he's sort of like learned that now.
Yeah, I think that's true. I'm not a huge fan of the dad in this movie. Like, it's not really.
He's very cardboard cutout.
Yeah,
it's very cardboard cutout. And what annoys me the most is like his character name. You don't actually see it in the photo. I saw it in the cast list, and I was like, Major. He's in the Navy. They don't have majors.
I mean,
I can't tell whether it's a problem with the actor or just that the story didn't give him space to be anything other than a perfunctory, tough dad.
I don't think it's the story necessarily. I'm going more with it's the runtime of the movie. Like when this movie shows up, like you need to get him to Japan. You need to have a reason to get him to Japan, and they wanted to go with the criminal route. So that's fine. Like, okay, so he's going there to avoid going to jail here. He's gonna go hang out with his dad. But once he's there, we've already burned about 20 minutes of our 2-hour movie. Like, we don't have a lot of time to spend with the dad. So it kind of makes more sense to just like, he's here, he's gonna do his job, and then eventually he's gonna leave him. But again, Justin Lin is smart enough not to just let that storyline completely disappear. They bring it back. They have him like, oh, the dad's also a bit of a car guy, and oh, they're gonna build a car together, and they're gonna repair the relationship. But we're also not going to give it too much time. It's enough to know that it's there. They made their mistakes. They fixed it. Moving on. Like, it's a very, very trim story, but it doesn't feel wasted either. Like, it's very well done.
Yeah.
It's sort of tying to that kind of nationalistic sensibility too. It gives the main character an American car to go up versus the sort of the Japanese racer, right? So an interesting wrinkle there too.
Well, it's an American car with a Japanese engine. Like, there's a very
with a Nissan engine, yeah.
Like
it's like I was looking at it going, would that work? Would that fit?
I honestly don't know. Like, I do not understand cars so I know so little about cars beyond engine and 4 tires. Like, to me, they're all Legos. So sure, why wouldn't it fit?
Cars are Legos?
Might as well, right? All right, what haven't we hit on this thing that we really want to talk about? I will say, compared to the first 2 movies, music is much better here. Justin Lin hires a much better music guy.
Yeah, you've got Brian Tyler, who's a fantastic composer, and this is one of his earlier soundtracks. And like immediately, I was looking, where can I get the soundtrack? Because I like Brian Tyler as a composer. I think he's done a lot of really good stuff, but this is really, really good music. Like
I was talking more just about the licensed music, like that. Like, they bought better music for this thing. I mean,
well, they got more, like, it wasn't just, this is the cool song of the moment. It was kind of like, well, this is the kind of emotion we're trying to invoke in here, so let's find something that actually fits that, rather than, well, Limp Bizkit's hot right now, let's put Rolling in.
Well, and then they'd also like, all right, we're gonna hire some great hip-hop guy, put him in the movie, and he's gonna write a song for the movie. They did it with Ja Rule, they did it with Ludacris. Like, they had a plan there, and they didn't do that with this one. And like, they went and found, it's not my favorite song.
A Bow Wow song? Jesus.
Like, it's not my favorite songs ever, but they fit the movie better. Like, it felt more like when those needle drops hit, it's like, oh yeah, this is fun, I'm into it.
It fits it's also like the music tells a story, because it's not like Limp Bizkit. It's more sort of like Japanese kind of dance music. So it's fitting the culture. It's got that sort of feeling of Japan. It's very, it's not like K-pop because that's Korean, but it's like J-pop dance, J-pop, whatever. Yeah.
J-pop still a thing.
But it feels like that though. So it adds to the sort of the atmosphere of, this is Japan, this is not America. Like, if they had like the same music selections that they had in the other films, it would clash.
Yeah,
loads. It would be very it'd take you out of the film, I think, a bit more. Whereas this, like you said, it sort of blends in with the film a lot more, because they not only did they choose better songs that like just work more thematically, they also chose ones that have like a sound of the environment that it's in. It's not just, this is cool. This is of the time. This will get kids in the theater.
You nailed it. Like when you said take them out of the experience. 100%.
Mm-hmm. The only other thing that I want
that's what you do. That's what happens in the first two for me. Every time I hear oh yeah, Limp Bizkit were a thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Ja Rule was a thing.
Yeah. Well, Ja Rule was in the movie. I'll give Ja Rule some rope because he was in the movie. Like he was doing it. He wrote that song for the movie. So yeah, I get it a little bit. The one other thing that I want to mention before we start moving into the end of this thing is something that there's a bit of a change with Tokyo Drift. And it's very on the nose in this one, and it's less in the other ones, but I feel like it's important to bring up. There's something about Fast and Furious franchise that is, I think, part of the reason why it is this global mega hit. And that's because the movie really, really wants to be a global, all-inclusive film. Like it's not.
It really does appeal to the masses.
It does. Like it tries to show people from all cultures and all walks of life. And it doesn't do it in the the very on the nose, like, look, we have everyone represented. Look at us try. It just feels organic. It feels like these are the people the story is about, and that's what we're going to tell. And I feel like that really kind of kicks off with Tokyo Drift. And it's a little bit more on the nose, obviously. Tokyo Drift. It's all about drifting in Tokyo. It's going to be full of Japanese people. But beyond
are you saying, Brian, that it's not like the moment in Avengers Endgame where it's all the female superheroes and it's like, look, you got your bit.
She has backup. Like, guys, come on. Like, I see what you're trying, but
what you're saying here too, Brian, like it really, and we think about Japanese culture, and we know that, their city hubs are definitely crowded, and just that they weave that into the stunt work too with that race for Han, and they're drifting through the crowd of people, which we'll get to because we're going to talk stunt work after.
Yes.
But this movie definitely tries to shows that this is a here we go, family. Like family is family.
Family starts in this movie. He was family.
It doesn't show what walk of life you are. If you have a connection with someone, that is the real deal, and that is brought up by Vin Diesel at the very end in his cameo appearance. But you feel that bond between Han and Sean.
Yeah, for sure, and it works really, really well. God, people who hate this movie are going to hate this episode. We were very nice to this movie. That's I agree with Joel. All right, but
to be fair, if they hate this film and they've not gone back and rewatched it since, then they should go back and rewatch it after listening to this podcast and realize that they're wrong.
Yeah, this is not a bad movie. There are bad Fast and Furious movies. Not next week, Ryan.
Yes, it is. I got a whole argument.
I gotta be honest, my rewatch of 4 was nowhere near as good as I was hoping it was gonna be, but I still think Ryan's
yes!
But let's move into the stunts of this thing, and then we can say it. We'll start saying our goodbyes. I think the worst race in this movie is the first race. As funny as it is, that's all it is to me. Is it's funny. Like
it's a plot point.
Yeah, it's all three of them should be fucking dead. Like all three.
Oh yeah. The way those cars were rolling and no fucking way.
Yeah, and I say that as a very big fan of this franchise. I've seen 6 multiple times. Yes, they should all be dead from just being in the movie 6. But that one was just too much. Like the way she's like the girl and the kid from I'm gonna keep calling the kid from Home Improvement.
Zachary Ty Bryan.
Yeah, I know his name, but he's the kid from Home Improvement. When they slam into that cement tube, it's like that's how those two died. Like, holy shit, are they dead?
Dumb ways to die.
I mean, it's like how fast are they going at that point as well? If they're going more than 30 miles an hour, hamburger. Their faces just look like hamburger.
And then Sean's wreck is so bad.
Their face should look like Sean's teeth.
Yeah. But all of it is worth it for when they're in the hospital police station thing afterwards, and she the girl just sitting there, looks over at Sean, and he says that shit-eating blood-filled grin. And just winks at her. All worthwhile, but it's my least favorite race in the movie.
Yeah, it wasn't. It almost goes here. This movie definitely starts to get away from the whole male toxicity, except for the first 5 minutes of this movie.
Yeah.
Just the fighting, the fighting in school where he's got the wrench, or when they throw a baseball through his windshield and he pulls out a wrench.
Yeah.
You know, just the fight.
I did like that because it's like a gang's like, yeah, we're gonna fucking take it. It just slides the wrench down, and it's like, oh.
Yep. And then
like, what I like about that though is it's already setting up Sean's kind of ingenuity. Like, well, I know that I can't take these on one-on-one, like, you know, I can't take these on all at once on my own, so I'll just have some backup.
You know,
this wrench.
I want to give this movie as much credit as humanly possible, but the knowledge to fight a group of dudes with a wrench, I'm not giving him that much rope. Like,
no, like, you know, and just to finish capping off on this is just, you know, the girl, you know, there's so much wrong with her, but like, oh, you can have me, and she's sitting in the car egging him on when she's like, okay, you need to stop now. I'm like, bitch, you started this.
Like,
see it through the end.
That look of, I thought you loved me. It's like, oh, just kick her out of the car. Like, you guys go get a beer and just like bury the hatchet. Like, this wasn't worth it. But it got him to Japan, so that's all that matters.
Yep.
And then we start the drifting races. I actually, with the exception of the race where like I really don't like Nella, she drives me nuts. But
she's not a very good actress. Her accent's all over the place. Towards the end of the film, she just suddenly sounds Australian. Like, yeah, I was like, where did that come from? She was not Australian for the first half of the film.
No, it was not my favorite. But like her sequence of like the beautiful drifting through the mountains at night, and they're all together. That's really the only one that I'm like, the fuck is this? Like,
you weren't captivated by that? You didn't
I was not.
Tonight? Did Elton John not
you
play
see how like
head?
Do you see how smooth the cinematography was there compared to the other races, though? Everything else is really shaky and jittery and stuff, and this is just like she's moving on butter.
Yeah.
Well, I think Joe, that's the point. It's supposed to be romantic.
Oh, I get it. I'm right.
Yeah, right. I understand what they're going for.
Have we ever been in love on this show?
Like, this one just doesn't work.
Only with cars. If you're talking about this show.
Yep.
And that's rough. That's rough love.
But the actual like racing in it, like the first one where Sean just fucks up his car and DK just destroys him. All that racing is really fucking cool, especially when you can tell like the practical stuff, like when they're actually doing like the stunt they have later in the movie where Han's trying to like get the girl's number by doing like the donut around her. That sequence is fucking cool. I don't know how to drive like that. The fact they do is like,
it is cool. It is cool, but it's also the most unrealistic thing I've seen in the series that worked, getting a woman's phone number.
I totally buy it.
That was 2006, man.
I'm handing my number to Han every time. I don't know what's wrong with you.
You're a guy, though. Like, you know.
Yeah, my panties are dropping.
Like, I'm a married man, but at the same time, that was impressive, sir.
The women in those cars look like their panties are just like the sprinkler had exploded or something.
Yeah, their car just turned into a hot tub. Anyhow,
we have derailed.
It was all worth it for Jules.
I think that's close to
Can you extract that one bit? I just want that as my message tone from now on.
I think that might be the most explicit thing we've said on the show. So
yeah, you're not wrong.
I don't think it is.
Movies to talk about.
I'm sure.
And we lost Matt.
Yeah.
I don't know which Frozen Matt I like better, the last one or this one.
This one looks like he's getting really intimate
Somebody
with his
needs
microphone.
to take it. I got a picture. Hold on.
All right. Well, Matt will be back at some point. We're going to keep talking about some of the other races. My hot tub comment was a little much. But I'm leaving it in, God damn it. The first race is actually really good, but then the race later on, I think, is probably my biggest complaint is when he and DK's right-hand guy, when they have to race, because it's so similar to the other race, they smartly edit around it, which is a little annoying, but it's still a good race. I just wish we actually saw it.
Right. And I think it's because we just got the montage of him preparing and then he beats DK's right-hand man. I don't know I don't know what they were thinking. That was a poor choice. Like if I could see that, I would.
Yeah, the pacing just didn't work for me on that moment. Like it's just like, do I want to watch him train? Sure, this seems like a lot of fun. I like the whole like he's just burning through tires left and right, which makes sense. I'm glad they actually addressed that. Like, yeah, drifting ruins tires. Of course it does. And I like that they were smart enough to actually acknowledge that. So that's kind of cool. But it all leads up to like that final race, and I think the final race it's definitely not the best race in all of Fast and the Furious. It leans more into the CGI than I wish it did. Not as bad as next week's does. We'll talk about next week. But I like the thematic elements of the final race of like, this is where DK learned to drift. He is the only one that's made it from the top to the bottom in one piece. Not that he does it this time, but he's the only person who's actually done it at full speed. And this is where he chose to race. Like, I like all of that. Like, it's a very good build up to a final showdown. Like, it's done really good.
It's definitely cinematic, especially when you have the Uncle Yakuza, as I'm going to call him, involved too. Like he's doing it in a way to bring there. So it almost lets, because Han referred to Sean as DK's kryptonite. So he's almost putting Sean, taking Han's advice again. Han is this great figure. He's allowing DK to set the stage for his downfall, and I really enjoyed that part of it. Yeah. Again, I just think it could have been a little bit more.
Yeah, I feel like there's a re-edit of this movie, or like a remake, that could focus on some of the more important stuff, and I feel like it'd be a much better movie. This shows that Justin Lin's just newer at this point, so he's just having a moment, and that's great. And I think this is a great plan and a great idea, just not the best execution. Like, I feel like the Yakuza could have been in a little bit more, and this final showdown would have been a little bit more dramatic and maybe not quite. So like, I just don't know where to land on it, because it really should be between Sean and DK, but the Yakuza is such an important factor here that they should also be involved more. So, and that's what I mean by like, he's having a moment of like, he set the stage so well, but he doesn't really have the time to fully flesh it out.
Yeah.
So even though the race is great, I love the race. It's a little CGI heavy, but the thematic elements all kind of bring you there, so it still works. Is it the best that we've ever had? No. Is it the best in the movie? No, but it works for a final race.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Matt, did you like the final race?
Yes.
Great.
I think Justin Lin and Chris Morgan, because is it Moran or Morgan?
I would say Morgan. You might be right though. That could be entirely on me.
Either way, they said
Morangan.
Yeah, put it all together.
It's Morgan. Morgan. Okay.
Chris Morgan, who writes the next four movies with Justin Lin. But they really set the emotional, and they really set the stakes with everything that happened before, that I'm okay with them getting away with the less CGI, but the stakes were there, which makes it okay.
Yeah. Anything else we want to talk about before we move into our favorite quotes or moments, or both? Perfect. Matt, since you seem to be having a limited time with us, why don't you go first to make sure we get yours in?
Yeah, so favorite moment, the sort of like the training montage in where he's learning to drift at the docks, and it's just the noise of the engines, and there's those two fishermen just sitting there.
Doesn't one of them say like, I could drift better than that?
Well, it's just kind of like he's crashing into the things, and he just looks around and goes, "Call that drifting?" But my favorite quote is the disclaimer at the end. The motor vehicle action sequences depicted in this film are dangerous. No shit. All stunts were performed in controlled environments with professionally trained stunt crews on closed roads. No attempt should be made to duplicate any action, driving, or car play scenes herein portrayed. No fucking shit.
And they actually read it to you. Like, it's not like they want to make sure you don't miss this. Like, please don't drift on your way out of the theater. You will get into a car accident. If we didn't show you Sean fucking it up enough, trust us, you will wreck your car. I wonder how many people still wreck their cars afterwards. I do know, like, I have a friend who got a speeding ticket on his way home from 5 because he was so amped up afterwards. He's like, yeah, and he got a speeding ticket. He's like, that's
well, have you heard the story about Christian Slater after he came out of watching Batman?
No.
He got pulled over for speeding because he thought like he was so amped up from like the Batman, the 1989 Batman film. So he was like, he actually ended up like in a chase with the police for a bit as well, I think.
That's nuts. All right, I'm gonna go next. My favorite sequence in this entire movie, it's tough to call my favorite because it's also kind of one of my least favorites, but I'm gonna stick with it anyways. I love the opening chase is terrible, but I already mentioned it. That moment when they smash cut to the hospital or police station, wherever they're at, and the girl looks at Sean and he's got that shit-eating grin. It makes me laugh every fucking time because it's just like, you idiot, you lost. You lost your car. You're definitely not going home with her, and you're getting kicked out of the country. You have failed so spectacularly, and he's still just like, yeah. It's just, it just brings me joy.
I'll go.
I also like the bit in that bit where
no, that could be my moment. Could be my moment.
Go ahead.
Don't steal it. Do you have a quote, Brian? Before
I do, but I'll let you because I want you to go first. So
my favorite moment, and then I'll let you do your quote, and I'll do my quote. But my favorite moment is when they're watching the video, and he goes, "Can I get a copy of that?" Was that what you were going to say, Matt?
I was just going to say, like, I think it's really funny where his mom says, God, is it okay if I smoke in here? And he's like, yeah, sure. But behind her, you can see there's a no smoking sign in the room.
That's pretty good. No, my quote was just a kind of a throwaway. Like they have this this gang of friends that we never get to know throughout the movie, but they just start hanging around in the training montages and they hug a lot. I don't know who these people are, but they're in the whole movie. But one of them has a line that always cracked me up, and it was, he drifts and smashes into a wall, and he just says, he's like, my mother, she's blind in one eye and she can drift better than that. It's like, what does being blind in one eye have to do with drifting? Like, what are you talking about, you idiot? Like, I've always enjoyed that line.
So my lines, if I
can
go off you, Han's philosophical, man. I really like the character of Han, and I watching Better Luck Tomorrow again, Han's unofficial prequel. He's just such a layered character, but he has two lines that really always stick with me. You're watching a Fast and Furious movie, you never expect to get life advice, but he offers two great pieces. 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing. And then he also says, and this is always it's such a poignant line, life's simple. You make choices and you don't look back. I really like that. To me, like, you'd never think that you would get something that deep from a Fast and Furious movie.
I mean, he made one choice that caused him to blow up in a car, though. So
Well, we'll get to that in a minute. That's not his fault. That's not his choice.
Did he?
Yeah.
Or did he barrel roll out of the way at the very last moment? You'll have to find out later. Joel.
No, I saw his car explode.
Well, his car exploded. You said he exploded, and I'm saying, did he? He didn't. Yes. I'm spoiling it for you. He's fine. He's totally fine.
He walked away with a minor limp.
Yeah, he's A-OK. You don't die in Fast and Furious movies.
Look at the poster for Fast 9 and then get back to us.
Yeah.
Fast X.
Joel, you still with us?
Yes, I am. My moment has to be that first car race in Tokyo. Just the continual sequence of him failing miserably, scratching, destroying that car, and then going up and just knowing he screwed up. And the contrast between that and Brian, the first one, it really tickled me.
Yeah.
I like the way it's edited, because you get DK doing all these really cool drift moments and stuff like that. And then it's like literally just cut to him coming around the corner and just smashing into cars as well.
Yeah.
Everyone would be so mad at him by the end of that race. Like, he fucked up way more than just Han's car.
Yeah, I'm going to say that one of those yellow cars got the back of it way fucked up. I remember reading, like, there was, like, they destroyed, like, over 100 cars making the film. I was thinking, is that just the ones in that parking lot that he crashed into, though?
I mean, I'm sure they fucked up so many cars throughout this franchise.
I just thought of another moment as well that I can't believe that.
Really quick, then we got to wrap this up. We've been talking a minute.
Yeah. The bit where in the chase where he's doing the drifting, the crowd is parting. Just that so shot. Good. It is so good. And it's like, this is how you learn to drift.
Wait, are you talking about like the the chase with DK where Han
yeah. That was the thing. It's like you've got to learn to drift by being chased by the Yakuza and then trying to avoid hitting people. But it's just that overhead shot where you just see the people kind of like moving upside and then the car coming in and it's that perfect sort of like line as well.
Yeah, that's a really cool shot.
Yeah.
All in all, Tokyo Drift, good movie, guys.
Yeah.
All right, let's.
At the moment, it's my favorite.
Before Matt interrupted me, I've got a couple lines here.
Oh yes, please.
Sorry,
Matt interrupted you. That doesn't sound like him at all.
For a brief few moments, we're all able to get something into the conversation.
Yeah.
Anyway, first section of the movie, Clay and Sean are sort of shit talking to each other, and Sean says it's not the ride, it's the rider, and Clay goes, "You talking to my girl?" And then Sean Boswell says, "She was just admiring my ride." In the background, you can hear somebody say, "My ride." And then at some point when Sean gets I think it's when he gets his shit kicked in against DK, and DK says something to effect of, "Why don't you be like most Americans and go find yourself a nice Japanese girl?"
Oh yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, that was a good one. All right, let's move into our plugs, and then we're going to say goodbye to this. This show and every other show in the ATH Network. Be sure to check out athpod.com, where we have things like this. And we also have Demon Days, which is they just finished a recording session, I think last weekend or maybe the weekend before. So we got a whole bunch of new episodes of that coming out. And that's a really fun actual live play D&D podcast. So be sure to check those out. Ryan, what you plugging?
You can catch me at the Front Row Network where I host the show Flashbacks, where we talk about all movies from the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. You can also catch me on the Front Row where I basically do movie reviews and run our Oscar campaign footage and all that stuff. So that's me.
Joel, plugs.
My wife and I are part of a podcast on After the Hype called Afterthoughts. It is a book club. We're in the middle of Lord of the Rings, and then we should be jumping over to Return of the King by the time this is being listened to. Super GG Radio is a video game podcast about video games and all things adjacent, pre-release demos, betas, and playing our backlog. You can also find me recently guesting on the Nintendo Main podcast, so be on the lookout for that.
Nintendo Main with Trey. It's a good show.
Yep.
Love Trey. Such a good guy. Matt, you got anything to plug?
No, because my Wi-Fi will probably drop out anyway. I will plug. Don't get fucking Virgin Media Wi-Fi because it's awful.
I mean, it's probably still better than AT&T.
The internet's fine. It's just the Wi-Fi the Wi-Fi in this room specifically is annoying.
Better than AT&T. And with that, we're going to say goodbye and fuck AT&T. Yeah.
Let's not fuck them.
Tune in next week for Ryan's favorite movie, Fast and Furious.
Favorite movie to bitch about.
Coming in real hot. All right, bye.
For Fast, for Furious.